I hear a lot of people say they can't wait to clock out and get home. They can't wait to leave wherever they're at and get home, run their hot bath, put their favorite show on, and relax. That must mean your home is your place of peace. And when you think about that word, it should spark a feeling of warmth, safety, and peace. You know, you already have to deal with so much when you're out and about. So when you walk in your front door, you can finally breathe this sigh of relief. Because you know, as soon as you step in, it feels like, God is there. His presence, his light is filling your space. That's why you're so, eager to get home, run your hot bath, read a good book. You can just relax, And if you are a prayer warrior, you have warring angels surrounding and protecting your home, a divine shield against the chaos of the world outside. I encourage many of you, before you leave your house or before you go to bed at night, to cover your day and night with prayer, but very important also, make sure you watch who you're allowing in your space. Now, I want to share this quick dream with you guys that I recently had. It was very detailed, and I know it'll be helpful for a lot of people. If things have felt kind of off balance, chaotic, maybe even heavy in your home lately, it's time to maybe do a spiritual cleanup. Sometimes the enemy, he paces back and forth outside your home. He's waiting for a small opening, a little small crack to, get in. And if there's always fussing, fighting, if you are, engaging in sexual sin, just a lot of sexual sin, or negative and harmful thoughts towards yourself or others, an unrepentant heart, then that's just like an easy invite. He doesn't even need the phone call saying, hey, come over. He's already inside, But until then, he's just kind of pacing outside. But in the dream, I was in this house and things went from balance to absolute chaos in minutes. I was a witness to what happens when we open doors that, should have never been open. What happens when we neglect to cover our home in prayer? What happens when we allow bitterness and anger to just take root and fester? When these spiritual doors swing open, the workers of darkness don't need a physical front door to come in. That door is already wide open and they are already there. So the house, initially only had its inhabitants, but as soon as they started, filling the home with worry, confusion, anger, fights, people, began appearing. And it wasn't really people, but they appeared as people. I looked over at the couch and I saw a man sitting there, feet propped up. His presence was very unsettling. And I said, how did you get in here? Because the door was locked. It was shut, He laughed and he made no attempt to leave. Next, the bathroom door began to shake violently. And when I opened it, 4 women were inside. These were not your average women. These women had a dark demonic presence around them. I remember staring at one woman. She had like this breakout all over her. She looked like she could have been pretty at one point, but it's like so much darkness and wickedness was over her. It literally messed her looks up. Her entire face was covered in bumps and boils, and her smile was really what stuck out to me. It was like abnormally wide, stretching unnaturally. Each of them had like this dark, intense, lustful energy about them. Now, let me remind you again, none of these people used a physical door to get in. The front door was locked. It was blocked. It was secured. They don't need a physical door. When you allow them an easier spiritual entrance, this dream was a reminder that our homes are not just physical structures. They are spiritual territories, and the atmosphere within them is largely determined by the choices we make and the spiritual doors we choose to open or close. The enemy, The enemy understands spiritual principles. He knows he cannot simply barge into a home dedicated to God and covered by prayer. In Ephesians, it reminds us, get rid of all bitterness, rage, and anger, brawling and slander, along with every form of malice. Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other just as in Christ God forgave you. When we cling to negative emotions, we invite the very spiritual entities that thrive on them. The enemy doesn't need a broken window or unlocked door to wreak havoc. This dream showed that when the internal atmosphere shifted to worry, confusion, anger, fights, unwanted spiritual guests started to show up. They didn't enter the house. They were already there, having been invited by the new spiritual climate. Your home is meant to be your place of peace. If your home has been off balance, conflict seems to just start up very easily. It's time to clean it up spiritually. Your husband might be a prayer warrior, but your wife might be into, let's say, dark practices. Maybe you're not aware of it, but that's why things seem to stay off balance in your home. That's why you stay sick, or let's say your wife might be a prayer warrior, but the husband, when the wife is away, he might allow all kinds of low vibrational, lustful women inside the house. I think that's what in the dream, the women that were in the bathroom, they were in hiding and they came out. So, very lustful, evil women, and that's why things in the home stayed off balance, holding on to bitterness and anger, refusing to ask God for forgiveness, for things you did against another. And then you wonder why your house, your life is just turned upside down. Listen, that dream was so powerful. Invite the Lord back into your space. Right now, if this is your situation, invite the Lord back into your space. Bring balance back into your home. The longer the enemy and his friends are there, the worse your situation will get. So I left out a lot of details in that dream, but I understood the message behind it. So I hope it's helpful for someone. And if you have any questions, leave a comment, and I hope it was helpful, and I will see you on the next video.